Anthony, I think we're going to have a flashback today, but has nothing to do with the concerts I went to this weekend.
I think it does.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. We want to thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We got Anthony Melchiori in the house. I, of course, am Glenn Hausman, and I'm excited to say today is going to be a banger of a show. We're going to be taking a little walk down memory lane and learn a little bit about this major classic hotel company over here. But before we do that, Anthony, big breaking news with another classic brand in our industry. Our friends over at Red Roof have finally named a president, and that's Zach Garib. And our friend Faoud Malouf is now in the newly created position of COO. So congratulations to them.
Congratulations, my friend. And let me tell you something. Yeah. Before you get on your podcast, don't eat a peanut because sometimes there's a shell in there. And then as your friend says, you got to swallow the shell and hopefully you don't choke on national podcasting.
Well, I don't want to correct you, but international. So...
That's great. That's great. What was he doing before?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't think I know Zach personally, but he was. Actually, he was the operations manager at High. No, that was a job opportunity. He was SVP of operations at Highgate. That's what he was.
That's why. That's why I know his name again. I'm gonna look him up.
Zach Garib, Gharib. He was also VP of franchise operations over at Wyndham Hotels and Resorts with La Quinta. Oh, now it's all coming together. Zach, now it's all coming together for me. I bet he knows our friend Raj Trivedi, who was president of La Quinta back in the day and is also a board member of Red Roof. That's pretty cool. All right. So I want to get into our main content for today. What do you think?
Main topic today is should I or should I not get a toupee?
I would totally recommend it, Anthony, but you got to go like 70s Howard Cosell style and maybe have the glue drip down.
This is Howard Cosell. You're not as good as you think you are, Muhammad.
All right, let's totally drive everyone away. Down with Frazier goes down, right?
I actually was.
Down goes Frazier. I think that's what it was.
What is that? The hair system? Cy Sperling, Hair Club for Men.
Yeah, I think he was not only he's not only his company, but he was a customer too, right?
No, but he's Anyway, I got the system. They called me. They did the whole taping and everything. They called me right before my wedding, and they go, "Hey, your hair's in." As soon as they said your hair's in, I was like, "Keep my $1,500 deposit. I'm not getting a toupee." Or it's not a toupee; it's a system. They literally put things in your head.
Yeah, well, I totally listen. I've got nothing to say negative about that. Everybody has their own thing, and we should all feel comfortable in ourselves.
You think our guest is excited about our conversation?
Listen, we've really teed this up for him, so he's still there. So maybe his sound isn't working. Let's find out. Let's welcome Webb Wilson. How are you, sir? He's, of course, CEO, Chief Investment Officer with KWC Management, which might just stand for Kemmons Wilson Companies. Webb, how are you doing? You there, Webb?
Doing well. How are you all?
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, looks like your internet's a little.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Webb, if you're a little closer to your camera, maybe.
Yeah, it's being a little tickled.
Yeah, it looks like the internet's not working all that great today for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you get closer to it, it'd be great.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah. All right, we'll try. We'll give it a couple of minutes. Yeah, but your signal, the quality of your signal is really, really low, which is what the problem seems to be. So, Webb, growing up, at what point did you realize you were part of a family that had such significant influence on our incredible building over here, our business over here?
Man, it took a while. I think it was probably sometime in college. Found out
really
through a business class that Kemmons was as well known as he was. So it was one that was kind of a low key family and something we never really, actually talked about and maybe fully understood the impact of the Holiday Inn name and what it carried in the rest of the world. So definitely, it was a learning experience, but it was more from the outside world than it was from the family side of things.
So what was your memory? What was your earliest memory of walking into a hotel? Do you have one?
Yeah, this is not working out too great.
Yeah, I think why don't we
All right, let me try to.
And then try another, maybe even try your phone. Just get on your phone and try to.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna have to take you out because we can't hear you at all, unfortunately. But Anthony, let's talk a little bit about, while he's figuring that out, let's talk a little bit about the legacy. What's that?
For you. If your first name is Webb, shouldn't you have a good connection?
That's really funny. So Anthony, what is your impression of how Kemmons Wilson and the Holiday Inn brand kind of ignited the modern hospitality industry?
Well, it's like asking, how do I think, what do I think about Air, or what do I think about, Apple? Or it started an industry. It started to organize a business with a person. Anytime you organize a business and you organize a customer together, you know what you want, I know what you want, and we're now going to make it easy for you. We're going to make it friction-free, as the famous word that we use on the show a lot. And we're going to then systemize it to make sure that we have what you want and you have what you want, and we can actually, as you're driving down I-70 or Route 66, you start seeing our name.
Yep.
It was McDonald's before McDonald's.
Yeah, for sure. Suzanne, being that you're a professor, I have a feeling you're the resident expert here on this particular.
No, I have never seen Suzanne's PhD, so I don't know if she's a professor. I need to see that.
That's a really good. That's a really good point. You might be scamming us over here, Doc.
Oh,
but let's
find
out.
When you come back to Miami to the FIU campus, you can see my PhD hanging on my wall.
All right, that's good. All right,
actually, one of the things that I embraced really starting it, and I was very disappointed in my own self because I actually have Kemmons Wilson's book in my possession that is autographed. And so I have followed the road trip that changed the world, or America, really, that started on August 1st, 1952, where Kemmons and his 5 children traveled from where they were across the United States. And at the time, if I remember correctly, it was only $4 to stay in a hotel. But for each of his children, it was $2 to stay in the hotel. So his kids cost more than the actual hotel room did. And that was the precipice for change. Yeah, I know, right? But that changed to say where kids would stay free because he didn't want to see that families had to pay that. And then there were so many unique and amazing firsts. What were you going to say there, Anthony?
Just leave your kids at home or put them up for adoption. Listen, everything comes from somewhere, right? You can put that on a bumper sticker and put my name on it. Everything comes from somewhere, right? And it comes from that moment, right? It comes from the moment where someone had a challenge and said, I'm going to do something about it. It's like anything else. When I first thought of, okay, I want to teach the industry. How we're going to do that? We're going to do TV. It's how you decide to do the podcast or how you decide to teach. There's always a moment in time. I was just watching something.
Yeah.
And how many baseball Hall of Famers are there?
Gonna guess more than 9.
There's millions.
I was gonna say, isn't there a whole Hall of Fame?
How many
they induct a couple of dozen every year, don't they?
How many are actually in the Hall of Fame?
97.
See what I'm saying? There's kids that walked off a baseball field, kids that didn't have the money, kids that didn't have the mother or the father to push them, that are walking around Hall of Famers, but never ever made it to the Hall of Fame because they gave up. When you have somebody driving down the highway with 5 kids, that idea, like many ideas, goes. And Holiday Inn never happens because he doesn't do anything about it. And what's great about it somebody did something about it, and here we are talking about it. And what I find fascinating is that we can't get them on the internet.
What are you talking about? Right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Webb, how are we doing with the signal this time? Seem better?
Yeah, I think better.
Nope.
Sorry, we've. I think the guys next door are doing some construction and hit a line here, so I think our whole office went down. Perfect timing for a live.
Yeah, it really is perfect timing. And Webb, don't sweat it. For some reason, if we can't make it through, we'll just get you back on and do a full show. But meanwhile, Webb, when you last were with us, way back 8 minutes ago, you were talking about you didn't even realize that you were part of such an important legacy for all of us here in the hospitality business until you were in college. Did this come around the same time that you kind of discovered your love for hospitality, or did one come first?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really love of hospitality has always been kind of a way of life. It was something that we always did, entertained at our house, my parents, but really Kemmons and Dorothy, every Sunday night, they'd get the whole family together, cousins and all. And there was always the guests there whenever, kind of every Sunday. And so it was always this like big family hospitality experience that was really a lived one. And so I think that was, something that was just, I didn't know anything different. So we always talk about like the way we think about the world is philosophy, hospitality is more of a philosophy of life than it is anything. And so I, definitely one we've lived into and grown around, but one that kind of innate in our DNA.
Yeah. Susie?
So what is probably the most exciting thing that you find within the industry that your legacy continues with?
Most exciting thing, I think it's kind of the impact that we still see today of kind of his vision for brand and brand standards and quality. Now we have 1,000 brands out there, right? So brand maybe means a little different, but I think that this continued impact and has been really the most exciting piece. And the second one is, the number of stories we still get, emails, cold calls of saying, hey, I remember Kemmons and he bought some land and he did this deal in these ways. He was just a big character and a big personality. And so it's been fun to see those stories, trickle down and continue to get those kind of, fed back into us. So it's always been fun to see his impact.
Since our podcast, there's 1,001 now franchises or brands since we started this podcast today.
I hate to correct you. Another 3 were just added.
Suzanne, go back.
Hi.
So what was your first, I was asking before the technology issue, what was your first time that you remember seeing the sign of the brand or walking into your first hotel? It was probably when you were, before you were born and the day you were born.
Yeah, right. No, I think the first
born in a hotel, I think, in one of the rooms.
Yeah. I think we were delivered. I was probably delivered in a hotel. That's a great question. I'd say the biggest memory I have of that is honestly not Holiday Inn, is the second business he started, which was called Orange Lake Resorts, which is a timeshare business based in Orlando that now is called Holiday Inn Club Vacations. And so we used to go down there. It's adjacent to Disney World. And so we would go down as a little kid and ride around and see this big, resort that he had built. And that was kind of my lived experience because, in 79, he retired from Holiday Inns. I was born in 83.
Right.
So, I didn't really see him in the day-to-day of it. And so it was really this next chapter. And then from a hotel experience, he actually started Wilson World and Wilson Inns.
Oh my goodness.
And 90s, kind of the Holiday Inn redo, if you will. And it's like my hotel experience is definitely more of a Wilson Inn, Wilson World.
I ran Nickelodeon that used to be the Holiday Inn Family Resorts in Orlando.
Oh, sure.
No way. That was that property?
I was the vice president of Nickelodeon, and it was the Holiday Inn Family Resort. It was owned by a bunch of people, and believe it or not, one of the partners was John Glenn, the astronaut.
What?
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's funny.
Remember?
I've got photos, or my parents have photos of John Glenn at some Holiday Inn thing with his signature and all that on it.
Yeah. So I got to meet John Glenn because of that hotel and because of Nickelodeon. So listen, the hotel industry and Holiday Inn and what your family's legacy is the reason I have a life in the career. So it's just amazing. We were just talking, we were having internet issues, just how one person, and you can tell the story. Our producer was telling the story, but you can tell the story of how it first started when grandfather decided, hey, we needed to do something. If you could tell that story, because a lot of people have similar things where it's like, oh, I was going to do that and I was going to do that, but nobody ever does it. So tell us like firsthand knowledge of the moment it started.
Sure. So Kemmons, you hit just a quick background on him. So he was his father passed away when he was 9 months old. So he was raised by single mother. And kind of through the Great Depression, he dropped out of high school, and I think he was a junior or senior of high school, and really was there always kind of working, trying to help his mom out. She was a bookkeeper. And so it's kind of this serial entrepreneur, was always into things and doing and whatnot, but eventually got into kind of home building and really post-war, as the home building kind of baby boomers were coming back, started doing that a lot. He had 5 children. So my father's the oldest, and then had two more sons and 2 daughters in that order. And they were taking a family trip to Washington, D.C. Wanted to show the kids, around the nation's capital. And so they hopped in a wagon, the little wagon. His mother-in-law his mom was with them. Truck everyone over, and as along the way they would stop at a hotel and they'd pull in and get out, and they'd go to someone. They say, well, we don't have a place for you to stay, or let me go check on the quality of the room.
Right. Might feel a little sketchy. Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of wasn't the greatest experience, but more importantly, what really I think irked him, and he was a very frugal guy, really coming out of the Great Depression, was they kept charging more and more for each person in a room. So with the 5 kids, a $4 room became, $10, because they were adding kind of a surcharge for everyone, even though they weren't using more linens and anything. And so on his way back from DC, after kind of, this bad experience, one after another, started measuring out the rooms and said, all right, I think there's a better way to put this amount of rooms together, because of his home builder background. And he's like, there's a better way to do this. We're going to standardize it. We're going to build a scaled, and everywhere you go, what you get. Kids stay free. There'll be a restaurant on site. Kind of all the things that were a pain point for consumers. And his wife asked him, well, how many are you thinking you need of these? And he said 400. And so she died out laughing and was like, you're out of your mind. And within, I think, 12 months, might have been 11 months later, he had the first Holiday Inn open in Memphis, and then opened 3 more outside of the thoroughfares into Memphis at the time there, and then it was kind of off to the races.
Right. I'm pretty sure the name was based on the movie Holiday.
Correct. Yeah,
right?
He had a draftsman, Eddie Bluestein, who had bring over the drafts of the documents. They're kind of looking through architectural drawings, and at the top he has Holiday Inn scribbled. And he goes, "What's that?" He's like, "Oh, I was watching the movie last night, and it just kind of scribbled it." He goes, "Perfect, that's the name." Didn't do any checks, just went with it. And we always laugh at Kemmons was very much a ready, fire, aim type guy. So it was figuring it out later.
There's a lot about that. A ready, set, aim person. And I think there's so much going on in our world right now, and everybody overcomplicates things, and it's like, I always tell people, get your pants on, walk out the door, and just go do something. And and I love that philosophy of ready, set, aim. And he changed the world. I'm like, I did a show called Hotel Impossible, where I went around the world and turned hotels that used to be great Holiday Inns that think they can do it without the brand. We don't need a brand. And then they walk away from the brand once they have to do a PIP. And all of a sudden I show up with my cameras and we're turning around their hotel. And so I guess in hindsight, there would be no me without him making that decision. I would have never done that show.
I'm pretty sure there'd be none of any of us.
Right, yeah, that wouldn't be on us.
Always going to be you, Glenn. You were always going to happen. But you probably would have been probably adopted by a rapper, and you would have edited all his videos.
Well, to be fair, my friend was the #1 video music editor for rap in the 90s, and I did hang out in that scene. So it was this close, Anthony, little sliding doors, you know? I might have been hanging out with Method Man and being his on air, talent. You never know. But anyway, Webb, one of the things that's really interesting to me is how a whole system was really put together, really setting the stage for the modern hospitality industry. This is going years ago before credit cards were even popular. I don't believe it was until like 1963 where they signed a deal with Gulf Oil to accept Gulf credit cards, right? And then in 1971 created Holiday Inn University that really started to focus on training people to be in this industry. And of course, there were a lot of other businesses. And one of the things that came out of all of this is you folks are still heavily involved in the hospitality industry, even though IHG is now currently the steward of the Holiday Inn brand, right, Webb?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So we stayed in, and as I kind of mentioned earlier, the Kemmons retired in '79 from the corporate entity and immediately went into timeshare business and then started another hotel chain and kind of the family continued to invest in hospitality and hospitality adjacent products and services. And so I think it was one that we didn't do anything else different. And that was, lean into what and do what you're passionate about. So it was good advice from Kemmons, and, those are the footsteps we kind of continue to follow and evolve.
Now, you guys have a massive portfolio of properties, including like the Montage, Kapalua Bay, and Hawaii. Could you just share a little bit about your portfolio? And then I'd love to get into what you're thinking about in terms of investment strategy and the state of hospitality as it pertains to your business today.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're Kemmons, again, it's kind of the serial entrepreneur. So the way we've thought about it is, I'm not going to start a business. I don't think I'm going to be a great entrepreneur, but I think we kind of take that entrepreneurial spirit and how we think about investing and really kind of focus on, differentiated ways to invest in creative structures, et cetera. So kind of always looking for a value add component to how we invest. And so with Montage, it was an opportunity we were had been looking at kind of pre these the kind of awful Lahaina wildfires that were there, and it was really owned by a kind of a private investor fund group that was kind of into their life. They were ready to move on. We saw a lot of low hanging fruit in our view of a way to improve it operationally and just kind of reinvest in it. Had been probably not fully invested in, and so. As the fires kind of subsided and we kind of got our head around, the continued belief and confidence in Maui and the Hawaii in general, we, were able to put, finalize that deal late last year and move forward. And so I think that's, a good example of just, our willingness to kind of, go where others aren't at some level.
Webb, I'm going to conjure up the spirits of the universe and transport myself to Hawaii right now. Come on, load, boom. There we go.
There you go. It's perfect. It's a good looking spot.
I know. I'm telling you what, I picked up this technology from Star Trek, so I'm able to boom around from place to place. Anthony, you look like you were going to.
Just absolutely a beautiful hotel. I haven't been there, but I mean, just looking at it, it's beautiful. Was it a foregone conclusion that you were getting into this business? Did you go to school and decide I'm going to get involved in this part of the business?
Yeah, no, great question. I did not. No, I went to University of Virginia. I was a philosophy and religious studies major, so it's not anticipating getting in the hospitality space. But through that, I really had interned and did some work in the financial kind of hedge fund world and doing a lot of investment. And over time, I kind of found my way back to the family office and kind of had this, more organic transition into this space and really kind of, evolved into leading the business and kind of leading our investments of it. So it was one that I think was meant to be, but it was definitely not pre-planned. And I candidly thought I was not going to work with the family. I just felt like, hey, I'll be on the side and cheer them on.
If you didn't have that time in college and you were forced to go into family business, you'd probably be miserable. Yeah. Coming on your own terms probably made a big difference.
Yeah. So, Anthony, some of the awesome hospitality investments they have are we had on Embassy Suites yesterday celebrating their 40th anniversary, and you got one in Tuscaloosa, so I thought I'd bring that up. But Anthony, in New York, they got the Roger Smith Hotel, they got the Thompson Hotel in Hollywood, California, and a bunch of this Wolf's Moab, Utah looks absolutely cool. Mining Exchange Hotel in Colorado Springs, and a number of others. Oh, and I'll also throw in a Holiday Inn Express. What made you decide to invest in that particular brand?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're always a great, partner. As I mentioned before, our timeshare business that we still own and operate today is a large partner with IHG, and so we're always looking for good opportunities to continue that relationship.
I love that.
My favorite Holiday Inn Express, my favorite brand. Traveling with my production crew around the country, I always stay there, and I always tell owners and first-time investors in the hotel business, that's a great brand to start with.
Yeah, I know. Well, I do want to confirm that he says that regularly. He's not just saying that now for the sake of
Good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I've been to every. I think everyone in the country, but and there's another brand that competes with them, and the reason I don't go there is because I like that brand, but I call that brand 80%. I call Holiday Inn Express 100%. And this is hard. Like, I should be the spokesperson because this is people don't believe me. Everybody that knows me knows I have high standards for hotels. I have never had a problem. Not a hair in my shower, not a key that didn't work, not a rude desk clerk in 12 years of traveling around the country staying in Holiday Inn Expresses. Not once. You go to the competitor, and it's usually good, but there's always a problem every third hotel. So, yeah, I'm a big fan.
No, that's great. I mean, Kemmons was the best surprise with no surprise. So that's a great.
So how are you thinking about the hospitality investment market these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm sure you guys hear it. It's definitely a challenging time. I mean, just to kind of read the tea leaves, you've had obviously increased revenue from the leisure kind of COVID boom, but then now you're having margin pressure from your kind of bottom line, and then couple that with probably some deferred investment and higher interest rates. So it's not, kind of a confluence of some challenging environment. And so we'll play across the capital structure. So we've been looking at a lot of things, probably more in the pref equity or even mezzanine side of the world. And I mean, the way we've been successful is really trying to find, good people we can partner with, take a long-term view, and try to find ways to solve maybe a nearer term solution, but kind of, share the reward on the back end. So I think that's really been our fullest kind of pipeline these days.
So my question is, with all the pressure from the rates, from the brand fees, from the expense driven, from finding people, it's such a difficult thing. And then even the brands are starting to look a lot like each other. Why not take the assets you have, the ability that you guys have in the home office, and kind of bring it inside and start another brand, start your own brand again?
I mean, the question has been asked, and we've thought about it. But I think for us, we appreciate the ability to scale a brand is pretty capital intensive these days, and really hats off to IHG and the others in the world that they can really deliver a lot of value from the brand.com. So I think we found that this is probably for us not the right path, and we'll find kind of the right opportunities and find the right brands for those opportunities, and kind of make those bespoke in that way.
And look what the different companies are doing with buying like Graduate Hotels and the other brands. And Graduate Hotels has been around, what now, 15 years, 16 years?
Something like that.
Yeah. And it was amazing that they built this brand, and it's such a strong brand. And then another big player came and bought them. But it's like, people think it's easy. People are like, well, people have a lot of money. Why don't you just go buy a hotel? It's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. People don't put 80% in their worth. I always say restaurants can be opened by three cousins and $100,000 and $200,000. Hotels, you need real capital, and then you need operating expenses for a very long time. And so it's a very complicated business, even for people doing it for generations, especially in this climate.
Yeah. So,
No, I agree.
Webb,
It's a big moat, and so
yeah. So,
no, I'm saying it's a big moat. To your point, so I think it's just one where.
Yeah, sorry about that. The internet was getting a little wonky again, so you were delayed just a second there. Did you want to give a more extended answer?
No. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, cool. Just want to make sure. Also, I noticed you're wearing the Tecovas hat. Is that how you pronounce that? It's Western wear and cowboy boots and stuff like that. That's the company you own. Though I'm not a cowboy, that might not be my shop to go at. I do want to go to your Central Barbecue, though. You've got a number of locations there. I love that you're thinking beyond the walls of the hospitality environment to hit different sectors of the economy as well with your investments. What's your philosophy behind investing in like a restaurant brand, cowboy brand, and other brands out there like your retail stuff like Billy Reed and that sort of stuff?
Sure. We've got some Wiseacre Brewery as well. So no, really the fundamental view, kind of simplistically, is finding great people to back and partner with. So that happens to come because it's actually Tecovas. Their name, but Central Barbecue is finding great people that have great execution and kind of backing them and kind of around support. And for our view is Kemmons, as you had the prior picture up, has a big brand. Brand was a big focus for him. It's a big focus for our family. And so we really view through the lens of, backing brands, quality, authentic brands that we can kind of drive, help them drive and professionalize over time. So it's one that it's kind of hospitality adjacent. And so that's kind of back to my earlier point of hospitality is a little bit of a way of life and a philosophy. And we're kind of, putting that through Central Barbecue or Billy Reed or the other investments we have.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question.
Oh boy.
What are you using at your offices in reference to AI? Where are you looking? Is it accounting, human resources? Where are you sitting right now with AI?
I'd say we're probably behind we're probably slower moving down here in Memphis at some level. But we'll, I think it's been used a lot for aggregating data when you're kind of doing asset management and kind of, summarizing reports and kind of ability to summarize, look quickly at what's flashing red or yellow or whatnot. So that's been more of the use of AI. We haven't done as much other than accounting and finance and kind of aggregating reporting side.
Yeah, and I think that's how most people are using it right now.
Yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Maybe it'll write an email or two. But.
Right. All right. So, what's in the future? Are you going to be doing more hospitality investments? Do you think, or just cool your heels right now because of the state of the market?
No, I think we're going to open or have an axe to put more money to work, and have been kind of working through a variety of opportunities and pipeline on that front. So I think it's really kind of trying to find that bid ask between people holding things for a while and kind of finding the right opportunity.
Webb, I feel like you have some opportunity now because from what I'm hearing out there, and please feel free to tell me the people I've been talking to don't know anything, but it seems like the people on the sidelines are starting to get antsy, and they either want to deploy that capital while some of the owners are starting to get a little antsy and just kind of want to dispose of those assets and get that cash in so they could recycle it for other stuff. Is that kind of the vibe you're getting out there? And if so, is that helping you find some of these deals where you could reposition like the Kapalua and make sure it's doing really great? Yep.
Yeah, they're definitely seeing more of that and just kind of pure acquisition and maybe some light refresh and maybe some management change. So I think it's definitely been a good time, and I think our team's been pretty busy trying to figure out and have a high bar to which gets what gets in the portfolio. So we're probably only going to do 2 or 3 a year. So we're not trying to do 10 at that time. So we kind of be selective.
A year is pretty good, actually, in this market. Do you think people are just going to wait till the election is over and then kind of reassess?
I think where people have the benefit of that, but a lot of the debt maturities and tips coming down the pipe, they don't have the time is not at people's benefit as much as it used to be. So I think there's probably someone waiting, but I think there's some people having to move.
I would like to throw my hat in the ring on this one and say I think that whole philosophy is a whole lot of bunk. I hear it every 4 years at all the major conferences. There's not a lot of clarity until the next administration comes in. But it's always been like that. And nothing ever significantly changes in our giant oligarchy over here. So I don't understand why people use that as a talking point. My guess is to kind of throw other people off the scent to make it seem like they're not doing anything or they're doing stuff behind the scenes. But what do I know? I'm just a caveman. Anthony?
Do people really talk like that on stage at these conferences when they say, well, I don't really know. Do they really talk like that?
That is exactly how they do it. My impersonation was on target, man. I don't understand why you're questioning this. Too funny. Webb, why don't I ever see you at these hospitality conferences? You just hiding out in Memphis?
We've always kept a low profile. We've been doing more, and we've got, I have the benefit of having a lot of family members. So there's if I'm not there, we've got my cousin Kim McLean, my brother Spence, or my sister Rebecca at one of these. Plus, we have a number of associates as well, kind of representing us. So we're probably out there, but we're getting more and more to some of these conferences.
That's really cool. I want to say our viewer Kim Hodge Central is her favorite barbecue place in Memphis. So
same here, love it. So I appreciate the support. We're big fans as well.
I think you should do a partnership with Gus's Fried Chicken and do.
Gus's is about 1 block from my office here. Dangerous. It is very, very dangerous. So.
Yeah.
So let's start some trouble. How's it working with family?
It's great. I mean, it's we always say the highs can be higher and the lows can be lower. So there's some volatility there at times, but overall, we made a choice really as we transitioned from my dad and uncles to our generation, was kind of actually said, hey, do we want to be in the business together for long term, and are we better together? And so we kind of actually came together. So we made that choice. This is really 2012. To say, hey, we're going to come back. We're going to stay. This is an option. We don't have to stay together, and it was a choice that we made, and it's one that really that philosophy has really kind of kept us, through hard times, COVID, whatnot. You just have the eye on the prize of like, this is for 4th and 5th generation. I'm 3rd generation, so we're kind of building towards that and continue that legacy.
Well, what do they say? 1st generation builds it, 2nd generation wins it, and 3rd generation loses it. So
shirt sleeves to shirt sleeve.
Yeah, I have. Here's the deal, Anthony. I think that it doesn't apply to Webb because Webb didn't even know what he was in until college, right? I mean, you're already a fully formulated human being when you started to understand what was really happening. I think that situation, I've seen it happen a lot. Happens when the kids have it too soft growing up and they don't really understand how money works and responsibility and stuff like that. Anthony, you're looking.
I was just gonna say it says a lot about your family because I mean I'm sure this will be in the family for 9 generations, and just listening to you speak, I mean you're obviously extremely intelligent and know I'm sure everybody in your family is, and I wish you the best of luck, and so I can't believe it's the first time we're meeting, but
pleasure to connect. So
I know this is crazy. This is crazy that this is the first time that we're meeting on here.
Yeah,
profile.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to do it again, and I'll have to make sure the guys next door don't knock out our internet before for an interview.
So I'll tell you what. Next time, maybe we could do it in person in Memphis over some Central barbecue or something.
We'll welcome you here. We got a hotel, Central Station Hotel as well that we can put you up.
Beautiful. But for real, Webb, we'd love to have you come back, and maybe next time you come back, you maybe in the fall or something like that, we could talk about management company strategies, all of that kind of stuff. Today, I'm really happy to share a great story about your family.
Maybe we can meet in Hawaii.
Maybe we can what? Sorry?
Maybe we can meet in Hawaii.
That's an even better idea. I like that.
I'm all over that.
I like that. Anthony, maybe we'll do that after that upcoming Vegas trip. We always have an upcoming Vegas trip. Webb, thanks so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Incredible. Webb Wilson, Kemmons Williams companies. That's pretty cool. Anthony, any final thoughts before?
No, just why'd you take us out of Hawaii? Oh yeah, why do you? I sent you a little link. I know you saw it because you smiled. Why don't you share with the audience that little link I sent you?
Yeah, it's just hold on one second. I got to pull up the.
Oh wait, it's a link of everything.
Yeah. That's why I didn't pull it up. But now I think I've got what you want. Please stay tuned as I delay and try to share this screen.
No, not that one.
I don't know. That's all I got.
No, where's my cowboy picture? Suzanne, where's my cowboy picture? Hold on.
It's not on this link that you sent me, bro.
Oh, it's not? All right. Wrong then. All right.
All right. Well, hey. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Here's a Kemmons Wilson quote that somebody just shared with me. I never had a master plan. I just went with the punches. The thrill of doing something and creating something kept me going. I love that. That's pretty cool. And one thing to keep you guys going is following us. Get our show wherever you get your podcasts, wherever. I'm telling you, wherever. Or text the word hotel to 66866. Get our weekly roundup of all of our shows and content, including the latest breaking news, such as what we told you about at the beginning with Red Roof's new president. Also, watch us on video on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and all shows are housed at novacancynews.com. Brand new site coming hopefully next week. Thanks so much for being here. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See you all later. And everyone backstage, hang